All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts on the future and the dangers of artificial intelligence. So I thought I would go ahead and give my thoughts on this one because I think it is a fun topic. Recently in the Joe Rogan podcast, which I'm a big fan of if you guys didn't know, he had Elon Musk on, and they were talking about the dangers of artificial intelligence, and Elon Musk is kind of a fatalist with regards to artificial intelligence. He thinks that AI is basically going to become the Terminator and kill us all. So I wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts on this one since I did study computer science, a bachelor's degree in computer science, and I have done some AI programming, some machine learning programming, and one of my friends actually did his master's in AI. So it's fun stuff for sure, but I think it gets a little bit I mean, the future we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens in the future and how crazy the world kind of becomes, and how much AI starts to become more and more ingrained in our society, and actually, products and services being taken care of by AI or by bots. Like if you look at Google, if you didn't know, Google is Skynet. Okay, so that's what it is, right? The self-driving cars, and what'll be next? Like having if you ever seen the TV show Humans, which is a really fun kind of dramatization of what this would be like. You could have synths in every house that do sort of the housekeeping and kind of the cleaning, and are basically our robot bot slaves that would go around and do the things that we want to do. You could have the self-driving cars, and eventually we probably will, this will eventually happen. Now it may not be depending on where you live in the next 5 or 10 years or something. This might be 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. So it could be, for my generation, for those of you guys who are in your 20s or early 30s, it could be by the time you get to be close to retirement age. If you're in your 60s or 50s or 70s, this is the kind of stuff that we'll probably be seeing down the road, once they kind of really start to kind of roll out more self-driving cars, and we start to kind of include all these different, services and things. Like, can you imagine jobs being taken care of by AI bots? Like, eventually you get to the point where maybe you could do some AI traffic bots or something that can go around, and they can, police officer bots that can arrest people, AI police officers, or AI, who knows, man. The Skynet, the sky is the limit for AI. And I think Google, they've got a nice head start on everybody. I think it's going to be Google, man. It's probably going to be Google, unless some freaking brilliant Einstein, computer programmer is born and is able to kind of, outdo everybody and come through and create something crazy. So we'll see what happens in the future. But basically, as a question, Trev, what do you think? Do you think that AI is going to kill us all, singularity, and it's going to overtake us, and then we're going to either merge with the computers, or we're going to become, we're going to transfer ourselves into the computers somehow and do something like this? And what do you think of what's going to happen in the future? Will AI kill us? Will it turn on us and kill us all? Well, for me, it depends. Like, if you're going to create an AI for something in particular, for a particular task is probably where, what we're kind of using it for now. You can use it to solve complex problems. You can use it to do, certain tasks. It can be worth it to put in the design time, because obviously this stuff is very, very hard to design. You have to get engineers or computer programmers that are very, very intelligent, really, really good at math. Basically, is genius math type people to write this stuff. And the biggest problem that we have actually with regards to the design is we're not smart enough to kind of create this stuff fast enough, right? The technology, we're able to design the technology, and technology is advancing at such a crazy rate. But in terms of the development aspect of it, the software dev aspect of it, we're not smart enough to create this stuff kind of fast enough to keep up with the power of the hardware. Hardwares keep increasing, but we're actually really slow at designing these kind of algorithms, at creating these kind of programs to do these kind of tasks. And we got to test it and everything. Of course, if you're going to roll out self-driving cars, you don't want them to be crashing. If you look in the news, every time you see it's like AI self-driving car, crashing, right? all the time, right? So you can't have this stuff happening. You want it to be as locked down, well tested and everything as possible before you roll it out. But, it depends. Eventually you could get to the point where there's some APIs or stuff like this and, decades from now where you could get, and this is always my fear, the thing that I think actually probably will happen at some point is you'll get some really genius, computer programmer slash hacker kind of like evil person, a sadistic bastard, right? Maybe one that's been bullied his whole life. He's introverted, so he has low empathy towards other people, and he just sits down and decides like, I'm just going to spend 5 years or 10 years, and I'm going to make like an evil bot or an evil AI, and it's gonna do something crazy, and then it goes out and does whatever. But it depends how advanced this kind of stuff gets. Like if we're able to kind of create systems that are able to replicate ourselves. The thing about us as human beings is that of course we run on biological systems, and obviously with computers you can't program them to feel unless you're going to start to kind of use some kind of biological, cybernetic, cyborg type of thing where you have kind of half and half. So you kind of grow something and then I don't know, it's crazy stuff, right? So they can't feel, right? So, and then it brings into question, like, are feelings really real anyway? And it's like, well, as far as the subjective goes, but really it's just processes and chemicals and things happening there, impulse, nerves and things that are sending everything through to have it processed biologically. The brain is a biological information processor, right? So with regards to that, it's kind of like, what will happen? Well, an evil bastard that's going to program some brutal AI to come out there and go Terminator style and try to take over the internet or something. The thing is with this kind of perspective is that we have so much security to stop ourselves from breaking stuff. Like if you look at all the weapons we have, right, the military and everything like that, they have their own systems, very secure, locked off. It's not like you're going to get access to this stuff most of the time through the open web or something. They have their own blocked off, extremely secure networks that, is an AI going to be able to break through when regular people can't really break through or very, very rarely are able to? Probably not. So I'm not a fatalist with regards to AI. I don't think it's going to kill everybody or it's going to easily replace us or whatever and go Terminator style on us. Next thing you know, there's giant bot things walking around with machine guns, right? I don't really buy into that kind of view. It depends. It all depends on the creator, right? It depends on the person who's going to make it. If you get some real evil bastard that just is really smart and able to come up with some idea of some way where you could create some open kind of free will AI that has the ability to learn, advance, and you'd have to give it some kind of physical aspects as well too, so it can control the physical world outside. So maybe you have some, like a bot body or something that you can do something with. I don't know, man. It's a lot of it's far out right now, right? It's pretty far out from where we're at right now and what we're seeing. But the ability to learn, and if you get into quantum computing and this kind of thing, where it's going to be able to think, like, imagine if you were able to create an AI, and again, this is our problem that we can't. It's difficult for us to create something that would be able to be smart enough or be able to do the things, and eventually we will. It's just a matter of time. And then you've got the hardware, quantum computing, and all this whole thing goes together. Yeah, it's pretty scary if the wrong person was kind of setting up the value system in terms of what the AI either what the AI's goal is, what the AI's purpose is, what it maybe, if you can somehow figure out ways to give it wants or give it interests, or who knows, man, because we as people have that, right? We have certain interests that we're interested in, certain things we want to do, certain aims and goals and careers and a purpose in life. So what are you going to give an AI if you're going to design it? What are you going to give it? Are you going to give it, so like what are you going to have it do, right? Are you just going to have it open source and be able to go around and decide what it wants to do randomly or something? I guess that's one way you could do it, but it's just like it's kind of down to, I think, the creator. So if you get some evil bastard who's smart enough to do something like that, then you could see something like that happen. But I tend to think probably not, because it'll probably be commercialized, it'll probably be blocked off, and I don't really see any purpose in somebody making like some kind of open free will source AI that doesn't have a function if it's going to cost a lot of money to build something to give it free reign. But then again, it could be kind of interesting to see, especially if you get into somebody who's really smart and encrypts the whole thing, and then even if people were able to stop the AI bot or whatever, from doing whatever its aim is that it wants to do, they wouldn't be able to figure out the person who made it because the whole thing would be locked down, with secure enough encryption. So it's fun stuff, the future, right? We'll see. But it's a long ways to go right now. I'm not necessarily fatalistic with it. I think that you're always going to have that little small portion of people that are corrupt, but generally people who are that smart that are able to do that level of programming, do that level of sophistication, and create those kind of systems and create things advanced enough to machine learn, to add information, sort information, defrag information, compile information, and do everything they want to do in order to fulfill some kind of programmed value system to do some kind of aim. Probably would use it to make a lot of money, right? Rather than hurt people. But you never know. It takes all kinds, right? So those are kind of my thoughts on AI and the future of artificial intelligence. I think it's going to be our slave for a long time, and eventually we could get to the point where some evil person could rewrite something in maybe part of one or some of one to create some havoc. But I don't think it will be able to, I don't know if it would have a want, because that's not necessarily an intelligence question to have a want, right? It's like, what do you like? What do you want to do? And that's a tricky question, right? It's like, where do we get our wants from and what we want to do? I think our upbringing and our biological drives mainly. So how do you add drives to a system that's not biological? You do it by random, I guess, based on the clock or based on, some kind of random calculation or something. Interesting stuff. You could even argue that in some ways, biologically, that's what happens with us. Is somehow it randomly kind of comes together, and we get our wants from that, and based on our skills and what we're good at and what we see throughout our upbringing, we decide what we want to do. So I'm not worried about it. I don't think it's going to be a big deal anytime soon. Probably not in our lifetime, but eventually when we get old, then the world will probably look a lot different. You'll probably see a lot more of this kind of stuff in there. But I don't think it's gonna go Terminator on us and kill us all. At least not right away. Not for a while. Until some evil person decides maybe they want to do that. Then they AI might have a go at us, and we'll see what it can come up with, what it can figure out how to do, and what it's going to do. And who knows, man? Some creativity. Creativity is hard to program. I'll tell you that much. Creativity is very hard to it's hard for people, even people ourselves. Creativity is difficult. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about robots killing us all. And if you like the video, please thumb it up below. You can also share and favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at the bottom left. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon for another video. As always, this is Trev. Stay in peace. Later, guys. See you soon.